Oh, hello, and welcome to Ardente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the Stand for Evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have Mr. Messy Bits. So, yeah, this one's called Mr. Messy Bits. It's October, so I went over to the creepypasta.fandom's Halloween section and just kind of Russian rouletted it again, guys. And just like chose a random creepypasta that we haven't done for the Halloween category. And we got Mr. Messy.
That works so well every time.
It does.
Granted, I have no facts whether or not it's worked well or not, because I don't remember which ones have been randoed.
Yeah, you just clear your memory files every time.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So, Mr. Messy Bits is by, and I'm going to butcher this name, this username is ScutigeraColeoptrata.
Sure.
I'm just gonna post this for you guys to read. Like you guys help me read this.
Well, I can see it because I have it up.
Okay, cool. It's quite the mouthful.
Scutigera, probably. Scutigera? I don't know.
Scutigera?
So many ways.
Or Scutiguera, maybe.
Maybe.
That'd be fancy in Spanish. ScutigeraColeoptrata. SC for short, since the S and the C are capitalized in the in it. Yeah. So yeah, then this is on creepypasta.fandom, which is basically the creepypasta wiki. So
I found out a fun fact.
Oh no.
ScutigeraColeoptrata is also known as the house centipede. It is a species of centipede that is typically yellowish gray. It has 15 pairs of long legs.
Wow. This is a first for us. I don't think we've ever done a creepypasta that's done by an insect.
Right? There's so many legs for typing.
Mm-hmm. No wonder. and yet this one was only about 3 pages long, all said and done. So,
I mean, yeah, they're not very strong legs. You just use all of them per key.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we should stop making fun of this username.
I'm not making fun of it. It's awesome.
So, yeah, so we're going to... I'll just dive into the rundown for Mr. Messy Bits here. There's this guy, Nair, because we never really get a name until later, and it's Mr. Messy Bits. But Nair, he leads this very boring, mundane life as a lawyer for a high-profile software company. Then about 2 weeks prior to this tale being told to us, this little yarn, as it were, he had a very vivid dream of something glowing which consumed his body. He woke up after that dream and quickly discovered that he would, at various intervals, explode his human flesh and form to give way to his true alien creature within. Apparently he's now an alien that's living inside of a human. As his new life went on, he found he could detonate on command, and since his human flesh reformed around him after the events, he began pranking his local community and town, going to various places and events, and blowing up in a gory form, and because he delighted in seeing the terrified faces of the people around him.
Did he learn to do it on command? I thought he was on a timer.
He realized he could set it off.
Yeah, he has a timer because he's basically holding it in.
Yeah, there's a build-up point. Basically, there's like a pressure point where like it goes off. But he can set it off prematurely.
Okay.
So, walking away from that innuendo, or that opportunity for an innuendo, I'm going to continue.
You mentioning that's an innuendo is you not
acknowledging the innuendo. Yeah, is me acknowledging the innuendo there. Yes, trust me, I'll get to that in my notes.
Okay, cool.
But anyway, his old life was over, and he started living freely in abandoned buildings and forests, and that's where he met Roger. It was Halloween night. Roger was a 10 to 12-year-old child who was not afraid of Nair's alien form. In fact, wanting to accompany Nair on his next detonation scheme. However, when Nair was blowing up in this next plot where he gathered a bunch of people from a slummy area and then detonated, but while he was doing so, Roger fell ill and collapsed to the ground. And with no humans around left to care for Roger, Nair was forced to take Roger to the hospital. However, Nair had been making a name for himself as a local cryptid and scaring the shit out of everybody, including the military. So they were on site to try and finally stop him. Nair managed to get Roger and himself into the hospital lobby safely as the military opened fire. But stray bullets caused a fire within the hospital. Nair selflessly surrendered the child to the military so Roger could get treatment, and then rushed back into the hospital to save the patients within. He stopped the fire by exploding the most and longest he'd ever done, even using parts of his alien viscera to douse the flames. In the aftermath, he survived. As the military rescued patients and secured the site, he also escaped. He discovered later in the newspaper that people were now calling him a hero for his actions, and furthermore, Roger recovered, and they became best buds thereafter. Finn, that's the end of the story. So, guess we'll move on to everyone tolerates the Grand Inquisitions at this point. And I have a couple. So, going to start with this one here. There were great red eyes blinking and gazing, appendages like huge spider legs twitching and grasping the air, long, tough hair that seemed to fold in and out of my human form, massive maw-like folds over ashen black skin, and a whole host of strange and otherworldly organs, too bizarre for me to put into words. So that was a bit run on. It's great descriptors, but it's a bit run on, because that's all commas all the way down.
Also, I forgot that he was a hairy alien.
Yeah, I also forgot that.
Yeah, well, it seems like there almost was a period location at Massive, because Massive is capitalized, but they didn't put a period.
Yeah, no, because it's capitalized, but it's a comma. So
That comma is probably a typo.
Yeah, so that could be a period, and that would probably fix splitting this up into two decently sized sentences. Also, otherworldly is missing the L at the end, so that it says otherworldly, because otherworldly is not a word.
Yes.
But moving on. So as long as I was still myself, I decided to keep it a secret. And then the next day I went shopping. Yes, you guessed it, all over everything. I think
went shopping everywhere.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just rephrase that. So decided to keep it a secret. And then the next day I went shopping, period. Yes, comma, you guessed it, period. All over everything. So he just went shopping all over everything.
Yeah.
I feel like it probably means and I cleaned up the sentence a little bit and rewrote it a bit. So I decided to keep it secret, period. However, the next day when I went shopping, ... you guessed it, comma, the messy change happened all over again.
Or even just
kind
it
of
happened all over again,
Yeah, that would also work, yeah. Well, no, the problem I was going to use it, but however, I used, you guessed it, it happened all over again. It's using and then it right after one another, and I was no, I don't want to do that.
Good call.
Yeah.
Or you guessed it, blood everywhere.
Yeah, you guessed it, chunks everywhere. And then my next one here. To tell you the truth, I had started to tell you the truth. To tell you the truth, I had started to rather enjoy the detonations, and I enjoyed still more the look of terror on the faces of those nearby when one of their own suddenly exploded into a monster. I really didn't like the way it said, and I enjoyed still more the look of terror on the faces, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of rewrote it again. And I enjoyed the look of terror on the faces of those nearby even more. Like just trying, just maybe just reconfigure some of the words and like remove the still, because it's like I kind of get what it's saying. It's like, and I enjoyed still like more than that than what I
with it.
Yeah.
You could leave with it and go, and even more, I enjoyed the looks of horror on their faces or whatever.
Yeah,
But you're right, because it's jammed together with all the other descriptors in the middle. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, because it's like I rather enjoyed the detonations, and I enjoyed still more the look of terror. It's like I that just doesn't sit well with me, like that way. The way it says that.
Mhm.
So,
And what made me enjoy it even more was the
that
looks
would
of
also
terror on their faces.
Yeah. Or what I enjoyed about it was the terror on their faces.
Yes.
Yeah. And then my next one here. While I had at first had some idea of keeping my old life, I soon learned to abandon my human way of living completely. I don't think I liked so I didn't like having the double had at the beginning there. So it's like while I had at first had some vague idea, like I didn't like that. So I fixed that a little bit. So it's while I had at first wanted to keep my old life intact, comma, and then it keeps going. Just kind of like, again, reconfigure that first part of that sentence, just because it read weird for me.
So like, while at first I had some vague idea of keeping my old life, like it doesn't need the extra head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then my last one here. When I arrived at the hospital, police and military personnel had the area surrounded. That's a wrong word. Personal. I think it's military personnel.
Yep.
So it says like personal as in like PERSONAL. So like the military personally dealt with this. No, it's supposed to be like military. Yeah, but it's supposed to be military personnel, as in like PERSONNEL.
Yes.
So, and that is my grammar inquisition. So, Mikey, the E stands for evil. I hand you the torch and pitchfork.
All right. So you did a fairly good job.
Yay.
So what I have left is a conjunction junction.
Ooh. And next stop, conjunction junction. Doot, doot.
But all that changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
God damn it.
Sorry.
God damn it. Yakade schmackade doo.
All that changed one magical night when I had a vivid dream of something glowing consuming my entire body. It was, and still is, hard to describe because so much of it is shifting. So, as long as I was still myself, I decided to keep it a secret. And then the next day, I went shopping. But as this proved to be messy and time consuming, I began to have rather depraved, almost exhibitionist desires. So I started my reign of terror. It was during a rest in the latter that I met Roger. It was October 30th when I first met Roger in the forest outside of town. It was up to me to deliver Roger to the hospital where he would get proper treatment, but there wasn't time for me to regenerate my human body. And that's why it was the best Halloween ever. Finn.
You almost retold the story.
Kind of. It's like his meeting of Roger was just, he's like walking through the park and then there's this kid like KO'd on the ground. He's like, oh shit. I guess I'll take him to the hospital.
Yeah. And it was the best Halloween ever.
Yeah, his best Halloween was just finding a knocked out kid and delivering him to the hospital with no events happening whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Honestly,
a
that
very
could be
low bar.
it could pass as a kid's book, like kind of like story plot. It's like,
Kind
oh
of,
no,
yeah.
the monster where the monster just like is going about his day, and then he sees a kid that's injured and so that, and they have to take him to the hospital. The end, and then the kid lived happily ever after.
Mm.
But yeah,
Roger could be the alien, like the alien from American Dad.
oh shit, you're right. Roger is the alien from American Dad. That is the name.
And for those uninitiated, like he does these little readings of sentences that start with its, ands, buts, and other words that shouldn't be starting sentences because there's always better words. And sometimes when you string them all together, it either tells the exact same story or a completely different story, or other hilarious japes and hijinks happen
Such
as a
as
result.
such as it was a squirrel. It came at full force.
Yes. That is what spurred this entire thing.
Yeah.
We've had a couple since then that were also awesome, although I do not remember them.
Yeah, unfortunately, the only one I really remember truly was the first one. I
We
mean,
need to start recording the good ones.
it's sort of like that saying, you always remember your first.
Yes.
Also, the way you said it, and for those not initiated, I just suddenly remember, it's like, yes, for the initiated of the cult of Conjunction Junction.
Yeah. Duh.
Yeah. Welcome to the cult of... Yeah. But yeah. So is that all you have, Mikey?
Yep.
All right. Gamer, you're up.
Okay. So I didn't get any of the grammar-related things that you brought up, Cultist. But this is like sort of a grammar thing, so I put it in grammar. The end of this paragraph is, soon I fainted from the shock, in regards to him first exploding and then passing out, waking up with a popsicle stick in his mouth. When I awoke, I was again covered in my human body, regenerated over my alien form. Why my new body had done this, I still cannot say, but it gave me much to think about as I was cleaning up the mess I had made in my apartment. So I was kind of expecting a quick scene of Nair realizing that this wasn't a dream, because he just woke up from all this weird shit happening. So one would assume that he would go and see if the mess is still there and then like roll a sand check and then clean it up. But he's just,
I honestly
as soon as he wakes
have
up,
this
it's like,
as...
this is real. Yep.
Yeah, this is honestly very similar to my first actual thought.
Yeah, because like I was gonna put in actual thoughts, but it's sort of like a grammar thing in a way, because there's like missing information there.
It is and it isn't. Like, okay, so my first
transition situation.
Yeah, I think the transition, because like my takeaway was like when I read this part here, when I awoke, I was again covered in my human body, regenerated over my alien form, and and then it keeps going, and I was just like, or you just woke up for real? Like,
yeah.
Honestly, between the lackluster transition from dream to wakefulness and how quickly the body horror is kind of just plays out in the opening paragraphs, I kept thinking that this first bit, anyway, was still a part of a dream that we were still like listening to. Like, I was like, oh shit, is this entire story going to be a fucking dream? Like, and it could be, it could technically be still like all a dream that this guy's had. He just never woke up.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
Roger's just the nurse that comes into his room. He's been comatose for 2 weeks, and Roger's just the nurse that talks to him like while they're like getting him all set up for like daily checkups and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wake up, Mr. Messy. Oh, Mr. Messy Bits. Like, like even got that like from like somebody like just playfully, like one of the nurses playfully saying that, like, because he made a mess of his stool or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh god, why did I just mundanify this? God damn it!
Because you're becoming me.
No, I must perform Sudoku. All right, fuck, I hate numbers and math.
What?
Because I'm performing Sudoku.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, it did feel like it's like, when's the dream over?
Trick question. It ain't.
Yeah, like we were saying. It was really hard to kind of like, it's like, wait, is this a dream? Are you still? Or yeah, why aren't we getting like a reaction to the mess and such?
Mm-hmm.
And is that all you've got for that grammar thing?
Yes.
Okay. Then I guess continuing with my actual thought, because I still have a little bit more about that.
Of course.
So on to the actual thoughts. So yeah, regarding the dream and his alien form and such, I do wonder if perhaps the dream was. This is my counter to the mundanity thing. The dream that he had of like the glowing thing was actually an alien abduction of sorts, but his abductor was just basically a less virulent and assimilative version of the Thing, like from John Carpenter's movie The Thing, where
not
like
the rock monster. Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah, not Marvel's The Thing, not to be confused with Marvel's The Thing or The Thing from Another World from 1950s or Swamp Thing, and certainly not The Stuff.
Yeah, or which one was Thing from Addams Family?
Oh, Thing was the Hand, wasn't it?
Yes,
yeah, cousin.
maybe?
Yeah, it was cousin It.
Yeah, cousin It.
Yeah. So yeah, Thing was the Hand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So many things so many things
things
have been named the Thing. God damn it. But like, yeah. So maybe like when it like maybe he actually did get it eaten by a glowing alien creature. Like maybe it assumed like an energy form. And then it needed a flesh form, so it like ate the guy and then became like a hybrid human form or hybrid flesh form, sort of like insect spirits from Shadowrun. Sorry, Mikey. where they
still has his memories though, and
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like the alien basically is using Nair or Mr. Messybits, as we find out, we get a name for him later. As like a meaty earth camouflage. However, it also absorbs his thoughts and memories and basically it's sort of like a meat trooper, like alien in disguise.
Yeah.
But the transformation process is so much messier.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like the movie, like, and I hate to bring this up, but like it's also kind of like The Host by Stephanie Meyer, where like it's like energy aliens who like basically take over people's bodies and like assume their thoughts and memories and stuff like that. But in doing so, they become you, but you also become them, sort of thing.
Why do you hate to bring that up?
Because Stephanie Meyer, the writer of Twilight and Sparkly Vampires.
Say no more.
Yeah. If any of you out there would like to donate to our Patreon, there's during one of our cross promotion episodes with Adam from RPX. We proposed it out to the audience that if they become a patron and say that they became a patron so that we would do a talkie episode that discussed Twilight, we would do it. I would drag Adam to the bowels of hell with me to review that novel about sparkly vampires.
Oh, the novel, so you can't even cheat and just watch the movies. Yeah,
exactly. But I digress.
Off topic here.
Yeah. Moving on to my next note here. At first, I confined my daily detonations to my bathroom, maintaining my work and social life. But as this proved to be messy and time-consuming, I began to have rather depraved, almost exhibitionist desires. And I was just like, wait, so you got bored of detonating in your bathroom to spare your social life and like your work life and all that kind of stuff. So you decided just to like fuck it and just go out into public and start exploding just because of boredom. And then I started countering myself as I was like writing that, and it was like, well, I mean, he's now an alien creature, so like his humanity's sort of like dwindling, and he's sort of just like kind of giving up on his humanity through the story. So we are kind of seeing an arc and logic to it.
Yeah.
And then it said this, and this is what really kind of got me. It was like, the thought of doing it regularly in public made me positively giddy. And I'm like, is this story a euphemism for masturbation?
Yeah, phrasing.
Like, yeah, this is like the epitome of phrasing. Like, especially like it doesn't help with like when it says like after I confined my daily detonations to the bathroom.
That's a
like,
word for it.
Yeah, it's like this whole thing. Like it's like yes, you detonated your human form.
Sure you did, buddy. Sure you
It
did.
also doesn't get it does not get better later on in the story when he's like when he like I think there's a mention of like other bodily fluids. like I'm just like oh god. But I'll get to that in a second. For now, I'll move away from the euphemisms. I remember asking him why he wasn't afraid, and he said I was the most interesting thing he'd ever seen. I explained to the best of my abilities that what had happened to me, and he said he envied my lifestyle. He asked if he could join. Sorry. For some reason, it's like this is in my notes, but as soon as I read like he said he envied my lifestyle, it's like I immediately went to Shadowrun. Sorry, Mikey. With like I immediately envied his lifestyle from the table chart. He had a low lifestyle. It means he could live freely on the streets and not have to pay rent. Sorry, I'll continue. And he said he envied my lifestyle. He asked if he could join me on my next outing, and since I didn't see the harm in it at the time, I agreed. So reading through like this part where he encounters Roger and like they start talking and like basically have like a like this weird friendship starts happening. I was like, God, Roger and Mr. Messybits is like this. The story of Mr. Messybits is just background, like backstory fodder for a character idea in Monsters and Other Childish Things, which is an RPG definitely. Where you play as a kid who has a monster friend. Like I could definitely I kind of have like I kind of want to stat out Mr. Messybits as a monster.
Mm-hmm.
like attack, explode, detonation, flesh detonation.
Detonation in quotations.
Honestly, it would just be detonations in quotations and just like attack, useful, defend. Just like all of them. Like all of the different ways you could use a power from a monster. Because like useful, douses things in gore. Defend, distraction, and then attack, flesh shrapnel. But yeah, it's just like, and then it continues on here, or as it goes on. Fortunately for me, none of the men present were brave enough to come in after me, and so fired off randomly into the lobby while I hid from sight. Okay, so guys, this is clearly taking place at Derplin Memorial Hospital, right?
Yeah.
Like seriously, the fuck military guys shooting into a fucking hospital.
Yeah,
like,
greatest.
God damn it! The monster again. This is quickly becoming like a horror comedy, like where the military is just fumbling through everything, and like they're the ones that are causing the most like collateral. It's not the monster at all.
Yeah, it's bad enough that they're firing into like an active hospital.
Yeah,
but also he's holding a child.
Yeah,
like
yeah, exactly. It's like when the helicopters in the Roland Emmerich Godzilla movie like fire their heat-seeking missiles, and Godzilla just like ducks out of the way as they take out the Chrysler, and the missiles take out the Chrysler building, and he's like, damn, that is a negative impact. Negative impact. I repeat, a negative impact. and then the mayor of Manhattan is just like, negative impact. That's the goddamn Chrysler building we're talking about here. Yeah, no, that is just like it's just like the that is a negative impact.
Yeah, it's straight up a Team America.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, damn it, I missed him. And the hospital's on fire.
Yeah, exactly. Use more bullets to put out the fire. What?
Shoot your water bullets.
Yeah. then we continue on into the madness. The fire was spreading very quickly now, and could not be extinguished by any device present. I imagined the fire department was on its way, but by the time they arrived, it would surely be too late for the other patients. There was only one thing I could do. I breathed in deep and came everywhere.
Oh my god.
Sorry. And then proceeded to give the longest detonation I had ever done. All right, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Blood, mucus, and other bodily fluids rained over the.
Why'd you have to say it like that?
Rained,
And other bodily fluids. A wink.
and other bodily fluids rained over a large area. Sorry, over a large area.
You almost sound like the announcer that's like talking, the trailer guy that's talking about a new like Rob Schneider movie.
This summer, Rob Schneider. Yeah,
Mr. Messy Bits.
See, I'm kind of borrowing that from like a bit of that, and also like the cinema snob a little bit.
Yeah,
like whatever he does, like little like stupid like adverts and stuff like that in his like mock adverts in his videos.
Yes,
but I digress. Yeah, no, God, this whole story, like from the start to like from the very beginning to like the end here, it feels like a trauma film or like a cheesy horror comedy where like it's not particularly scary, but it's visceral in its description, in some of its descriptions, and the monster becomes the hero. Like it straight up kind of feel like I've never fully seen it, but it kind of reminds me of the Toxic Avenger in a way, where like that movie kind of starts off as like a horror movie because like in the way that like the guy becomes this monster and like takes out the bullies, but then he becomes like a hero through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It really just kind of this creepypasta really just kind of made me want to watch more trauma films, honestly. Like to kind of like because I keep thinking that this reminds me of trauma films, but I keep remembering I've not seen a lot of trauma films, and I should rectify that.
Which is kind of fun. Well, not fun. Sorry. Which is kind of funny because you're the one who keeps talking about trauma films, like you know. I assume
I know, like
seen a couple.
I've seen like one or two, but like none of the major ones. Like I just haven't gotten around to watching them. Like, and I've read up on it, and I've kind of gleaned into the fandom a little bit. So I know a casual observer sort of like knowledge of trauma films, but
okay,
yeah, no, this creepypasta reminded me of those like kind of like cheesy, gross horror comedy movies more than anything. And then my final one, and this is sort of the final nail in the head of the whole like monster of the childish thing, the idea thing. To my relief, Roger made a full recovery. He met up with me again as soon as he was well enough, and the two of us set out together as partners in crime. And that's why it was the best Halloween ever. And I'm just like, my God. On top of being an excellent piece of fodder for a Monster of the Childish Things character, like duo, this is the start of a buddy horror.
Yeah, it is.
Like, straight up, this is the origin of a buddy horror story. And I'm for it. Like, I am absolutely for it. All right, so I've said my piece. It's time to hand it over to Mikey and Gamer. So, Mikey, the Stands for Evil, you're up.
All right. So, my first issue, is with the exploding. Because for me, it was hard to visualize just how much was exploding. Like, is it like just all of his skin explodes with some extra chunks to reveal the alien form, or is there a lot more? Like, does he lose half his height?
That's true. Yeah, it doesn't like because mentally I was envisioning that like the human form, like the human body, just like explodes, like gives like outward, like in a almost like a bubble effect of explosion. Like it's all very uniform in terms of how it explodes, and then in its place is just this alien. But
Of the same height?
of roughly the same height, maybe a little bit smaller. But you pose like this thing would also have to be very lanky, and basically it had to be the skeleton of the.
I was just about to say, yeah. The way I envisioned it is just that it's like the alien is an exoskeleton skeleton of a human.
Yeah, like it has a little bit of like carapace or like armor or like skin on this around the skeleton, but then like it's basically just skin and bones. It's like literally skin and bone alien sort of creature.
Yeah,
In
like
terms of how like
take a
lanky
human
and how
skeleton,
yeah.
Shrink wrap it, fill that with alien guts and everything, and then put human flesh, blood, and skin on the outside of that.
Yeah.
That's the way I saw it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and the other thing is like there's no explanation of if this guy is like a big fat guy and he's exploding like one of those zombies
boomer?
from
like a boomer, or what's the one from Killing Floor gamer?
Bloat.
Yeah, like a bloat or a boomer. It's like
Yeah.
just yeah.
I mean, if it's a really big heavy set human exploding to this skinny alien, then yeah, there's going to be a lot of
That's
chunks
true.
going everywhere.
Yeah, it is. It is a little bit different if he's like just like a regular like average size or average weight sort of level, because it's like this alien's either got to be really pretty small or like really thin,
or it's straight up fucked up alien magic and whatever. Fuck you.
Yeah, honestly, you do pose a good point. Like, it could honestly just be that like it's kind of like the aliens working on like video game logic or some weird like energy matter like kind of thing where like it's assumed this human form and then it explodes the human form, and in the place of the human is a new alien asset.
Yeah.
Well, and originally I was thinking more like a incorporeal alien ghost that just regenerates the human body. But then later at the end, parts of his alien form explode too.
Yeah, like I think the story could definitely be helped or be improved if we got a little bit more description of the mechanics of how the alien human explodes.
I think actually, now that I'm thinking about it more, I think I might understand it a bit more.
Okay.
What it could be is, so the alien, let's say at rest, the alien is the exact same size and dimensions as the human.
Yes.
Cool. What the human does, what the alien does is it like shrinks itself down, not height wise, but weight wise, to like go skinnier and skinnier to like pull all of its stuff in, and then it grows the body over it. So to detonate, all it has to do is just relax,
expand. Yeah.
And then it pops all the flesh off. That's
the mechanic of it. Like that's the natural mechanic is like, yeah, when it's inside the person, it's actually contracted down, and then like that's why there's a pressure buildup. Is that it can only
can't hold it forever.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it. And then he just so he just it's detonation by expansion. Like
yeah. Actually like that.
Yeah, I love that. What a revelation.
What a revelation.
Yeah, no, I really do love that idea. Like I think that would make the story so much better if that was explained, like where Mr. Messybits like tries to kind of like explain how he explodes.
Yeah,
or
it's like
how
he's holding his breath.
Yeah. It's like while I'm human, I have to like I always feel like I slowly start feeling like I'm holding my breath like tighter and tighter and tighter until I can't keep it in anymore, and then I have to let it out.
Like his breath gets shallower and shallower the closer he gets to detonating, basically.
Yeah. Also, if it would explain like what his height, like kind of like what his dimensions are as an alien in conjunction with his human form, would also help kind of clarify some things.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So good on both of you guys for that. That was a really good thing to bring up.
Yeah, we did it. High five.
Yeah. High five. Rage hand.
Technomancer hand, because they're on the internet.
Yeah.
Technomage hand.
All right. And then my second actual thought here is that the the story seems to lack a lot of creepiness.
Yeah.
Like, where's the creepiness of suddenly finding out you're an alien?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's more like he's just stoked.
Yeah. Also, the way you said it's like, where's the? I was like, where's the beef? It's like, where's the creep? Yeah. No, it's very. It skims over a lot of the initial like body horror, like or like what how the character would be feeling about the body horror.
Yeah.
Which is what would make this more of a creepypasta in terms of like, giving us some spookiness.
yeah, and my note here is that where's the horror of the exploding? Because it becomes almost comical since he's just doing it everywhere.
Yeah, he's just pranking like weddings. Okay, I just realized what like there's a part of that like as he was like naming off like the different places and stuff like that. I kind of had this like stupid thing. Okay, I buzzed weddings, funerals, public gatherings, football, racing, arson, power thirst, like. Sorry, like schools, government buildings, even
Yeah.
work. Yeah. Also, it's like doctor waiting rooms, and then in brackets with a quote, "There's something wrong with me." Ah, bam. Like I kind of don't. I get what he was saying with that, like, but I kind of don't like the way he puts that in the story. I guess this is kind of like a grammar inquisition or like a it might be an actual thought, but like I feel like the doctor waiting room example that is given like either doesn't need to be there, or if you want to keep it there,
Down a
maybe
bit more.
add a little bit more, like in the brackets, like have like I just walk in saying there's something wrong with me, and then pop goes the human.
I don't think that's what he means. I think when he starts listing when he starts listing all the things that he enjoys exploding in,
Yeah, that's when he realizes
realizing that there's something wrong with him mentally.
Yeah, I thought that too, but I also think it could be either or for me. Like it could like either he's like realizing that there's something wrong with him as he's naming off all these like places that he's detonated and buzzed, or it's when he was in the doctor's waiting room, he remembered what he'd say as when he'd walk in. It's like, doctor, there's something wrong with me. Boom.
Actually, you might be right.
Yeah. The in the doctor's waiting room, because then it continues on to schools, government buildings, etc.
Yeah.
So it's tied directly to the doctor waiting room that he does that at.
Okay, but why do we only get one example?
Right? Yeah, like that's. Yeah. I think that's what's bugging me is like the fact that we just have this one random like example in the list, and it's like maybe either remove it because it like or like save it for the end and have like a couple of like give us a little bit more of like what you do when you buzz these places, like what
that's
like
why
I could see like yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just like like we get like the hospital one, and then like the government building one. It's like you'll never take me alive, coppers. Kabam!
Yeah. Like the reason that I assumed it was just him thinking that, oh god, there's something wrong with me mentally that I'm enjoying this.
Yeah,
is because it's only mentioned once,
and it's in brackets.
Yeah,
like it's almost like and to me that I always think of when it's in brackets, it's like an out of story thought that the narrator is giving us.
Yep.
But I also think it would work as an example of when you're in a doctor's waiting room.
It would.
So, yeah. So
that's the end of my actual thoughts.
Okay.
One way you could clarify, well, just one last thing. One way that you could clarify that doctor's waiting room brackets thing is go, there's something wrong with me, and then do a sub bracket and go, like, explodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, boom, something to clarify that that's what it is.
Yeah, like, or maybe even like, all sorts of gatherings, doctors' waiting rooms, and then like, I don't like maybe even like a colon or a semicolon, And then it goes like, I just walk in saying there's something wrong with me. And then and then it used the brackets, boom, exclamation point, and bracket, and then go into the next like thing. But it still kind of bugs me that like there's just one defined example given to us.
Yeah,
or like
they should all
elaborated
be
on.
exampled out, or none of them.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, my go now?
Yes,
Yep.
your go now. Yep.
Okay. My life took an unusual turn recently. Until about 2 weeks ago, I was a successful lawyer. I lost my first case, and my life was never the same. That's how I'm auto-completing that sentence.
See, I had a different thing with this. It's like my life got flipped, turned upside down. Like it completely, like just like didn't even like get like right from square one.
Just from
like,
reading my life.
Yeah, exactly. My life flipped right upside down. It's just like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also accurate though.
Yep.
And a little bit later, after he explodes, I couldn't go to the authorities, as I would surely be locked up and studied. So as long as I was still myself, I decided to keep it a secret. My answer to that is, couldn't go to the authorities because they wouldn't believe you. Like, he's just a dude that walked in. Like,
unless he blew up.
I'm an alien. Yeah, sure, Carl.
No, really. Like, I'm going to explode any minute now.
Bomb! And then they tackle him.
and then he detonates it. It's just this. I just imagine like a guy like a squad guy jumping on him, and then just like he blows up, and the guy just goes to like messily like just like these like gory chunks all around, and the guy just gets launched up into the ceiling and then falls back onto the alien.
Yeah, squashing the alien,
killing him. End of story.
And when those aliens die, they just turn into like a mist and dissipate, so there's no evidence. So it looks like he literally just had a bomb on him.
Oh, he becomes a giant glow. He becomes a misty glow cloud and just like vanishes away.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, maybe. So like the alien like that he dreamed, I do in quotes, was like on its deathbed, and like similar to like Green Lantern, or like in the Green Lantern origins for some of the Green Lanterns, where like the character's dying and he hands them the ring, or like he hands them off, like in like basically in their dying breath they curse Zoidberg, but also pass on their powers to a new species or to a new creature.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so silly and awesome.
I know. This really is like a monster horror superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Like sort of, or like a superhero origin.
Yes. But
Mr. Messy Bits.
even the name.
Yeah.
Yes, moving right along.
Mm.
And I enjoyed still more the look of terror on the faces of those nearby when one of our own suddenly exploded into a monster. So it's kind of funny that we're doing this story right now, because I just finished playing an old Steam game that I got ages ago, but I never finished. It's called EYE, period out, Divine Cybermancy. And it's basically a dystopian FPS RPG with guns, magic, and cybernetics. So it's sort of Shadowrun in a way. Sorry, Mikey. But you're like medieval-looking knight cult guys, and they're the good guys, versus like looters and the evil military. But
okay, I've never heard of this.
It's an indie game.
Okay.
It's really good, actually. Anyways, the reason I bring this up, though, is because there's a magic spell in the game that causes a monster to be summoned inside of an enemy, causing them to explode.
Oh,
so basically this story.
Yeah.
And I just picked this game back up this week.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's awesomely timed.
I know, right? Also, the other way to explain the whole alien situation is it's basically like telefragging in Unreal Tournament.
Yeah.
Where you shoot your teleporter at a guy and you teleport there as he's there, so your body gets built inside his body, which explodes him.
Yeah.
Which could be another way that this is actually working as well. Like, he was abducted and cloned, so the aliens have a shitload of clones, and they send the clone down, and then they telefrag into him when they feel like it. And then he keeps passing out and waking up, right, as his normal self again, except for the one time when he regrew. Never mind.
yeah. I don't think it quite works, unfortunately.
No, it doesn't. But either way.
Yeah. So, is that it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, no, that is off, like, oddly timed.
It really is.
That you picked up that game than that.
Mm-hmm. So next one he says, so I started my reign of terror, buzzing weddings, funerals, public gatherings, doctor waiting rooms, schools, government buildings, my place of work. So my question to that is, how is he not being caught? Like, the first couple of times he does this, yeah, you might get away with it if he does it in a place where no one knows him. He's doing it over and over again. And cops will be on this. Also, he does it at his place of work. They know him.
I think he's like going in, like, the way I envision it, he's going in like to some of these places like disguised, like trench coat and sunglasses sort of style, and then just like Unabombering it to just casually reference a very like horrible like thing that happened, like just goes in like under some kind of like mild disguise and then just detonates. And then like people think he's dead because he just detonated, like, so he's dead. And then like I think going to his place of work and doing that was like it's like fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, I'm out, bam. Like, just detonates that way. Just like that's how he quits.
I mean, possibly, but either way, like,
yeah,
this keeps happening. Like, just in the list, weddings. These are all plural, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's not like he just does one wedding. I'm like, I'm done with weddings. Like,
yeah.
So
he goes to funerals, like, my condolences, kabam.
Yeah.
It's like Mazel Tov, kabam.
Yeah.
It's like, recess, kids, bam. It just, yeah, it goes to like, again, goes to the government building, which I like, could be a police officer, like things like, you'll never take me alive, bam. And he's doing this all in his local community, he says. So like he gained a reputation within his local community that like they know this cryptid exists among them.
But also, it doesn't say anything about him being like, okay, I'm going to go out on a buzzing, I'm going to get my mask ready to go.
Yeah,
like,
it is missing that. Yeah.
So he's just, as far as I know, he's just walking around as his normal Nair Aderman self and just buzzing wherever the hell he wants, regardless. And yet the cops are so derpland, they don't even know.
Yeah, because this whole thing takes place in the state of Derpland.
Yeah. Which
I am very close to just like making a map of a new state called Derpland. I was actually like debating, like, should I put it? I kind of want to put it between like the Quebec border, the New York border, and then like the Maine border. Like just take all those borders, like, and then like move them apart and the space in between them is the state of Derpland. or
just have like some random island they found out next to like wherever the hell.
Well, no, it's just like it's the secret state that's not on any maps.
Oh, I see.
Or it's just like it doesn't physically exist. It's like Carcosa. Just like you stumble into it when you pass the state border or state lines.
It's out in the middle of the desert of like Arizona. Like, no one
it could be. Yeah, well, yeah, and I was thinking of also like, yeah, at first I was going to put it in like New England area or like in the East Coast, but I was like, I mean, we've mentioned like Left Town is in Derpland, so like maybe it's also on the left side of the continent. So it'd be on the west side of the continent. Because west side is the left side.
It is.
Anyway. Clearly this is a Derpland thing. I do feel like I do agree with you. This story could definitely benefit from elaborating on exactly how he's going about doing these schemes.
Yeah. So far, his physical appearance should be elaborated on, because him being overweight would add to the gore and make it easier to stomach that there's an alien inside him that you could fit in there.
Yep.
Him having some sort of realization that this is real. And then this one that we just talked about.
Yeah, how exactly he performs his schemes without getting caught all the time. Like,
somehow.
It's like, Oh God, it's Nair! Get him! Get him before he blows again.
Yeah.
The harsh he blows. Sorry.
But we'll move on from there.
Yes.
So then I don't have to read this, I can paraphrase. So at the hospital where he is getting shot at, even though it's an open hospital and he's carrying a child.
Yeah, there's probably patients. There's probably patients in that lobby. There's probably a receptionist, a couple of nurses.
Yep, not anymore.
Yeah.
But either way, so there's a fire. It's spreading. So he decides that my best course of action is to walk outside where the military opened fire on me unprovoked and hand them the child. And he does so without being shot. And it just opened fire on him without warning.
Yep.
But he can walk out because now he has plot armor.
Yeah, he's holding the child. Well, because maybe before they didn't quite like they thought they had a much better, like they had a target because it was his back, like was turned to him. But now that he's holding the child, like I either imagine it being like he's holding the child like cradled in his arms, walking solemnly to the commander and handing it to the kid. The other way I take it is that he's just holding the child in front of like a human fucking shield.
Yeah,
like
holding it outstretched
so that they won't shoot him.
But that's not described. So how do we?
I know. I agree.
Yep. Also, it would be hilarious if he hands him the child, like gives a nod to the commander, and then as soon as he turns around, the commander looks over his shoulder, gives a nod, just bang, shoots him.
Yeah, exactly. Just kills him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him just get like sniped or shot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But then he goes back in, he breathes in deeply, and does his largest quote-unquote detonation ever. So this is the point where I realized, or had to think, like, when I was reading up to this point, I did not read anything that said he had gained control of when he can detonate. And when you were doing your rundown, I was rereading sections, trying to find anything that was mentioning him saying, I now have control of when I detonate. There was nothing that I could find.
I'm looking at now because I thought oh no, yeah, here it was. I learned from this experience that my body needed to detonate at fairly regular intervals, and that I could predict when and where this would happen, so long as I did it. So long as I did not put it off. So
predict it.
Yeah, okay. I think this is probably a grammar inquisition because I think that's not the right word he wants. Like I could like trigger it when and when this would happen, because it sounds like, based on like the context of the sentence, he could predict when and where this would happen so long as I did not put it off. So
yeah, as in
either he could predict where and when it I can see like he could predict when it's going to happen. But how the fuck is he predicting where it's going to fucking happen? Like, unless he's got precog.
He has future sight.
Yeah, he's got precog.
Yeah.
So like, and as long as he didn't put it off, so like he could hold it. Like, as long as he didn't hold it too long.
I guess, but either way,
the
story, I was surprised that he magically has control for plot convenience over it now.
Yeah, I think that paragraph there, though, I think the predict needs to be removed and made it like that he can trigger it on command, because I think that's what it's trying to get at, is that he realized he could set it off himself. He didn't need I think that's what
he could set it off prematurely.
Yeah.
Okay, but it doesn't say it. So
it doesn't say it. That's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then later we get the part where like he was able to just breathe in and release.
Mm-hmm.
It just came everywhere. Sorry. God, it's so gross. This is the grossest
everywhere.
Yeah,
he's detonating.
Yeah, he's detonating all over that lobby.
Yeah. Oh,
blood, viscera, or what was it? Blood, mucus, and other bodily fluids.
Why do you have to say it like that?
Because I know it grosses you out.
Yeah, fair. Anyways, moving right along.
Yep.
To my relief, Roger made a full recovery. He met up with me again, and soon he was well enough. And to that, I was just thinking, like, did we ever find out what happened to him to make him pass out in the
Nope.
first place?
Nope. He just
Okay.
passed. He just passed out. Well, from like, okay. So this Halloween night. So maybe he had been eating a shit ton of candy and chocolates right before he hung out with Mr. Messy Bits, and
So
then
he's on a sugar crash.
so he just crashed hard from sugar because he's a 10 to
that's
12-year-old
possible.
kid. So
Yeah.
but again, it's never said. It never brings up why this kid like just got KO'd.
Yeah. During that situation where he's bringing all them together to detonate and show them, at this point, I'm supposed to believe that he has full control over detonating, even though it doesn't say that.
Yeah.
That's what is probably meant to be said.
Yes.
But he passes out before he detonates.
Yeah.
And he notices it.
As he's about to detonate, he's like, nope.
Yeah, he's
like,
as he's about to, but almost the way it was worded, it sounded like he would have had time to control it, unless it was just on a timer.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. Like, yeah, it's
not
I think
elaborated very well.
Yeah, I think it needs to be that some of this stuff needs to be clarified in the story.
Yeah, because I don't know what to believe anymore. Whether or not he has control or the whole thing is just a timer. And it's like, well, okay, in 3 hours I'm going to be buzzing, so I'll buzz over there. We'll just hang out there until it happens. That's what I thought was happening the entire time.
Oh, maybe that's why he calls it buzzing. Like it's like a buzz of a timer.
The alarm goes off. Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, he's got like an organic timer, and it's actually an annoying fucking buzzer, like from an alarm clock.
Yep.
That goes off right before he blows.
Makes sense to me, but in my headcanon, there's no control over it, even though he has control at the end. But
even though he has the end, like or maybe he forces it like at the end, like he hits the button a couple, like he's mentally mashing the button to go off.
Or like that's his first attempt at causing it to happen.
Yeah.
On command, maybe.
So like a sequel story, he's now got full control. He's not just predicting when it goes off.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Poorly worded, regardless.
It is. Yeah, I will grant you that.
Mm-hmm. And my last one is just about the ending. And now the two of us are set out together as partners in crime, and that's why it was the best Halloween ever. So when I read that, I was like, what's with this ending? It kind of sounds like I just sat through a grade 7 presentation during show and tell.
Yeah.
But the dude's like a grown ass man, is a freaking lawyer, and that's how
he's an alien now, though, so he's no longer really human. So maybe he doesn't talk very well anymore. I don't know. It does kind of come off very childish at the end. It's like, and it was the best Halloween ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, yeah,
again, he's just not being caught because he just continues his shenanigans and no one can catch him.
It could be. I do propose this because a lot of creepypastas are written by younger authors. This could be one of the cases where this story was in fact written by a younger author.
I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's like the endings, the last line specifically sounds way younger than everything else.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like the way it's worded. Like that line would be better coming from the mouth of Roger.
Oh, yeah, like it almost like the last paragraph should be like now from the view of what's his name?
Roger.
Roger. Wow. Yeah, I gapped on the name.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Multiple seconds ago.
Yeah. Or, it would be really interesting if the story was revealed that actually this is what this has all been narrated by Roger as
he's doing a show and tell thing.
Yeah, as he's doing a show and tell and like this is all the information that we've gotten in the story has been what Mr. Messy Bits has told Roger about his life, like how it happened and stuff. That would make sense. Like that would make a lot more sense, and especially if it was revealed at the end, like that's what was going on.
Yeah, like just after that, there's like clapping, and then the teacher's like, "Oh, thank you, Roger. Who's up next?"
Mr. Messy Bits. No.
Yeah.
Well, no. It's like, all right, who's next? Oh, wait, Mrs. Kabapple. I've got Mr. Messy. I still have one thing I want to show you guys. Mr. Messy Bits, you can come in now, and then that's where it ends.
Okay.
Because you know what's coming.
Yeah.
Mr. Messy Bits. No, okay.
Of course.
Gross.
It is. Yeah, that's the end of my notes.
Okay. Well, honestly, guys, you guys have definitely brought up some major points that I fully agree on. This story is not very scary. Far from it.
No.
It's also kind of weird, gross, and a bit rushed for its pacing. Like there's definitely spots that Sparts? Really?
Yeah, there's spot parts.
There's various spots in the story that need to be elaborated on, or I feel should be elaborated on. See our entire discussion that we've done so far. But damn it, if this story did not grow on me like a new layer of human meat over an alien body. God damn it. Like
Wow.
the friendship made by the end too, just real like by the end I was smiling reading this story. And for that, I'm going to partially recommend it. I'd call this a good, bad creepypasta, depending on your mood.
It's a B movie creepypasta.
Yeah, like it's not a good creepypasta. Like again, it's not scary. It doesn't really invoke a lot of horror atmosphere. It's horror aesthetic. It's a monster movie, sort of like cheesy B-rated or Z-rated horror monster movie.
Is that a thing?
Oh yeah. There's a lot of shitty movies out there, man, and the grade goes down to Z or Z.
It's Z actually.
Yeah, I apologize.
Where you're from, dude?
Yeah.
What you two
But yeah.
talking about with this Z?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, this, like, by any account, this isn't really a good creepypasta, but it's, to me, it's really good fodder for like a Monster of the Childish Things character idea. Hell, I might actually make this, like, stat out this character. I also kind of want to run now a scenario in Derpland in Monster of the Childish Things, where you're just like, your monster friends that are having to deal with the stupidity of like the cops and authorities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and that's basically where my recommendation is coming from. It's not like the story is not scary. It's not really a good creepypasta, but you'll probably enjoy this, like the read, depending on your mood. So that's why I partially recommend it. It does still need some work, obviously. It like there's some things that can definitely be fixed and added to and edited in the story. It's got a little bit of ways to go before I could actually fully recommend this as a creepypasta, but I like it for some of the things it is saying, and as I read, it did grow on me, because initially I was reading this story, I was like, this is really bad, and then it went on. It's like, I really love this story. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Take it or leave it. I'll move on. Mikey, D stands for evil.
All right. So, as I pointed out before, this isn't really all that scary.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the main reason is that it goes from I'm a human to I guess I'm a monster now, very quickly.
Yeah.
Like
immediate acceptance.
Yeah, there's no denial. Like, oh, this can't be happening, or why is it happening to me?
Wake up,
like,
Nair! Wake up! Wake up, Nair! Wake up! Just like slapping himself, and then he explodes again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you could do a fake out, like have the first explosion just be a dream, and and then he wakes up, but there's still this mess. But that mess, he just chalks up to him being hungover and throwing up all over the place.
Yeah. It's like, oh god, what did I drink? There's blood everywhere.
Yeah. So it's just there needs to be more character building, in my opinion, not just okay, this is how it's going. Yep, everything's fine.
Yep.
This is
nope.
fine.
Exactly. Yeah. That's one of the parts I didn't like about this. Like, that's one of the parts at the beginning where I was like, oh god, this is gonna be a bad story. Was that like how skimmed it got, or how much it just skipped over the traumatic reaction to finding out you're an alien that explodes out of human form.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes really quickly. Like 3/4 of the story, all the creep has already happened.
Yeah.
Sorry, quarter of the hell. After you get through the first paragraph, like,
Yeah.
all the creep has happened.
Yep. And it was in a dream.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So, yeah, the story just ends up being mundane and, to me, not that creepy.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work for me, so I'm not going to give this a recommendation.
No, that's totally fair. Gamer.
So, for me, at first I was going to not recommend it as well, because it's good in concept but bad in execution, in my opinion. But as we've been talking about it, like, it is also growing on me a bit. There is good aspects to it. It's not like, there's the bones are good.
Yeah.
There's something good to build off of here. But reading through it, I was constantly asking questions or questioning the reality that this story takes place in regards to, why didn't the cops catch him? Like, why isn't he questioning things?
Like,
more
why
and
are all
more and
these
more.
things getting skimmed? Why are these just getting skimmed by? Like,
it's
why
like
doesn't the
dream
author want to?
logic, the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, honestly, I could see this. Like, if we talked to the author and found out that this was based on a dream they had, I would 100% believe that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, because this kind of felt like a dream, like the journey in a dream.
Yeah, because logic doesn't really have to make sense in a dream. It goes. It goes places and does things.
Mhm.
But yeah, this had potential of being like a really awesome buddy horror. And there's slight bits of it by the end, like Roger and him going buzzing and such, but they don't really capitalize on it, in my opinion. So the concept is good. Execution is almost there. It just needs a little bit more explanation and everything. So I'll give it a partial recommendation.
Okay.
But I if it was going to be elaborated on, it needs to be hammering home like the more horror to it. Because if it's meant to be just a silly horror concept, is it concept or substance? Substance and what?
My horror theory is that there's horror substance and there's horror style.
Yeah. So if it's meant to be a horror style story, by all means, like, okay, I'm not gonna suggest it should be one way or the other. It's just, I personally like immersion and being able to think, like, get into the mind of the main character and be creeped out as he should be. And I did not have that in this at all.
I agree. I do think, though, whereas you want it to either be like substance or style, like choose one or the other, I think you could have your pie. I think you could have your cake and eat it too here by introducing at the beginning of the story, like even like the first half of the story, have it be about the trauma of realizing you're a monster. And then the second half being the acceptance. And that's when things kind of take a little bit more of a lighter turn, more of a weird, like, fiction sort of turn, where like we're now seeing this through the eyes of a person who has accepted that they are a monster that explodes.
Yeah. First half of it, it's a guy who's going through all this weird shit, and then after that, there's no guy anymore. Yeah. It's just a monster. Yeah,
and then he meets this 10 or 12-year-old kid who wants to be his friend, and suddenly it's Psycho Gorman, where there's where the kid has a monster, or again it's a monster of the childish things. This is like that's my thing about this. This is my reason why I gave a partial recommendation. I'm exactly the same way with you right now on this. Like, we are in sync for some reason in this case, because. Yeah, like, the story itself here needs to be improved upon and fixed. But it's definitely fodder. Like, the ideas that are in it are straight up fodder for games and for a monster and other childish things, or a buddy horror sort of duo thing. Like you said, the bones are good, but it needs to be built upon.
For sure.
So,
the whole concept of an alien that has a meat suit that explodes off every day for reasons. Like, even just the concept of having your disguise be a physical meat suit that explodes off is cool. It gives it sort of a Terminator sort of vibe. Just because like the actual thing is hidden under actual flesh.
Yeah, exactly. Like with the Terminator with the metal skeleton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
like the concept itself is something that I would also potentially use in tabletop for a character. Like if I'm a shape changer at some point, that might be how I switch shape. I explode the current shape off of me and to
horrible
reveal the
gore,
other shape underneath.
Yeah, you just take the flaw like there's a Shadowrun. Sorry, Mikey. Where it's like we're like one of our players on One Less Die has it. Like where they're just like they're very obvious. Like in crowds and stuff like that, or they're very like people they're very recognizable. So like you could take that flaw and we'd flavor it in that like that flaw applies to your transformation so that you just like it's very flashy and you're just very like flamboyant with your explosion of gore.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Or hell, just like use that as a means for flavoring magic.
Yeah.
Like if I have a character that can teleport around, like a Nightcrawler style character, teleport into an enemy, and then bam.
Instead of smoke and brimstone, it's gore.
Yep.
Oh God.
That too.
Oh man, the meat portal. God. Anyway, okay, that's you. Getting grossed out myself now.
Good.
But yeah, I think that's about does it. Like basically one out of 3, and mainly just because of partial recommendations. Like there's groundwork here that's really good. It just needs to be worked on.
Yeah.
Also, actually, one thing I wanted to bring up: if you wanted to keep it a little bit more serious, maybe work on the fact that work on that one scene where like the police, like how the fire got started in the lobby. Don't have the police fire in on the lobby. Like, or if you're going to have it be accidental that like a stray bullet on the outside of the building, like when they were shooting like at Mr. Messybiz, and then they ceased fire before they got to the lobby. However, a stray bullet dinged off something and started the fire. Like maybe
maybe don't have them just immediately open fire on him.
Yeah,
because he's holding a child.
Or maybe they didn't know. Maybe they only ceased fire because they realized he had a child. Like they didn't see it initially. Because he was like kind of like racing, like racing around to get over to the hospital, but they were already there waiting, setting a trap. So like that also begs the question: why the fuck was the military setting a trap at the hospital? Like, how did they know he was going to be there?
Precog, man, precog.
Yeah, Derplin, man, Derplin.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that has been this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, or this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr. We're all on Twitter. You can talk to us there. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without the W because his name is very long.
It is.
And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, spooky-things, cryptids. Send them our way, and we will take a look at them and post them on the show. If you'd like to help support us financially, you can go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigamortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content, all that good stuff. To our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you guys so much. It really means a lot as you help us keep those hosting bills at bay. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you as well, because without your listenership, it would be like staring into the void, or it would just be like screaming into the void and just hearing an echo chamber. And if you didn't write these stories, if you didn't share them online, and like scary or not, we enjoyed these. we kind of enjoyed this. So, and also
Most of us anyways.
Yeah, and also if you didn't post them out there and share them with the world, we wouldn't have anything to talk about. So the show wouldn't exist. So, thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well. Oh, hello and welcome. I should probably pull up my notes for this. Okay.
Well, I guess you got something to put at the end now.
Yep.